Greetings, true believers. This is Blue Goblin with part 2 of my latest comic book review blog. On this section, we're only going to cover X-Men books, or X-titled books. So, let's get started. Let's start off with a good one. Young X-Men, number 11, the so-called Death of Dust. We get a storyline involving two alternate timelines. We have a possible future and the present time. And of course, you know how the writers at X-Men, you know how Marvel is. If the X-Men are involved with a future timeline, you know Wolverine's gotta be a part of it. That's probably the only cliche. That's the only problem I have with this book. I mean, a future timeline with the X-Men. Gee, let's put Wolverine in it. Like it hasn't been done already. But other than that, this was a good read. Guggenheim did a good job writing this book. I must say, it's one of the better X-Men books out there. You know, I just wish they didn't. I just wish they went ahead and just kept the title of New X-Men instead of switching it to Young X-Men. I still really don't understand why they changed the title. Other than that, it's good. Go ahead and pick it up. You'll like it. Really? Pass. Next up, XMen Kingbreaker, number 3 of 4. You know, when I first started reading this series, the first thing that popped in my head was Emperor Vulcan 2. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like the sequel to Emperor Vulcan, and usually, majority of the time, not all the time, but the majority of the time, a sequel doesn't add up to what the prequel was. Honestly, that's what this feels like. This issue, the first 2 issues were pretty good. This one was alright. It was... Craig was right. The artwork is a little iffy. I wouldn't say it was bad. Just thinking it's iffy. You know, but Chris Yost tried. He tried. And he pulled it off to an extent. If you compare Kingbreaker to Emperor Vulcan, honestly, Emperor Vulcan's going to come out on top, not Kingbreaker. But it's still a nice read. You might enjoy it. Then again, X-Men's getting into a bit of a downward spiral, just a little bit. But let's see if we can't pick that spiral right back up with, oh yeah, XFactor number 40. Now, Peter David, this is perhaps the best writing that he's going to be doing. Period. Peter David, you are a genius. Giving you props. You told us not to spoil it, and I'm living up to that request. I didn't spoil 39. I'm not going to spoil this, but I'm just going to say, when you read this book, because it happened to me, it's going to happen to you. You read this book, you're going to go, holy shit. That's all I can say. You will love it. Peter David, you are saving us from bad X books. Maybe somebody ought to tell you to write Uncanny. Just maybe. Then maybe Uncanny won't be such a pile of worthless bullshit. And I'm being nice when I say things like that about my favorite X-Men book, which is now falling, and falling, and falling, and falling. Get this book. This was the best X-Men book of the week. Yeah. Well, that was short, wasn't it? Well, that's all I got. So, I guess this is goodbye. So, goodbye. Later.